Hi, good evening. My name is DeLacy DeLuca. I'm going to discuss how the 2020 through 2022 FBI coercion and suppression of Twitter accounts affected interpersonal contemporary communication. I will discuss the controversy surrounding this and propose solutions that could help protect free expression while also promoting transparency and accountability. Social media has become one of the primary ways people communicate and stay in touch with family, friends, coworkers, and even strangers around the world. Platforms like Twitter have really transformed our way of interpersonal communication by allowing people to exchange their ideas instantly and participate in conversations around the world about our world. Everything from politics, health, education, and current events that interest us are now at our fingertips to discuss with others as we please. However, these social media platforms have also become the center of debates over the misinformation, election security, and the role of government in online speech. So, between 2020 and 2022, communication between federal agencies such as the FBI and Twitter over Twitter's content moderation raised concerns and debates about government influence on online speech. Internal company documents released publicly led many Americans to question whether our government had crossed the line from sharing security concerns to improperly influencing online speech. Were these interactions constituted as necessary for public safety, or was this merely a breach of freedom of speech? That remains up for debate. But the controversy surrounding this has affected the public's trust, interpersonal communication, and perceptions of free speech. Greater transparency, consistent moderation policies, and stronger protections for free speech can potentially help build some of that trust back. Twitter documents show what some may call a cozy relationship between the FBI and Twitter. Twitter employees have maintained check-ins with the FBI. These relationships no longer included just a specific investigation. These relationships were now ongoing permanent surveillance. And this all began during the 2020 election cycle and then continued through 2022. So during this period, Twitter communicated with several federal agencies, which included the FBI, regarding topics such as election security, foreign influence campaigns, and potentially misleading online content. All these communications later became public through internal company documents known as the Twitter files, congressional hearings, and court filings. According to internal documents, the FBI reimbursed Twitter roughly $3.5 million for their efforts in processing requests around the 2020 election. Twitter has a safety, content, and law enforcement department that had a special account called the Reimbursement Program, which was their staff devoting hours to processing the FBI's requests. People who have supported these communications argue that they were necessary to protect the public from foreign interference, election manipulation, and coordinated disinformation campaigns. They've argued that our government agencies carry the responsibility to alert private companies about national security threats, so Twitter ultimately made its own moderation decisions. Critics, however, argue that the close relationship between government agencies and social media companies created pressure to remove or limit lawful speech. They feel this blurred the line between government recommendations and government influence, raising concerns about the protection of free expression under the First Amendment. While courts have examined these issues, the legal boundaries of government communication with social media platforms continues to evolve. Regardless of whichever interpretation either side accepts, the controversy fueled public debate about transparency, accountability, and the role of government should play in moderating online communications. Several factors have also contributed to this controversy. The COVID-19 pandemic created widespread uncertainty The 2020 presidential election increased concerns about our election integrity. And federal agencies sought to reduce foreign influence campaigns and misinformation. And at the same time, social media companies were facing enormous pressure from the public, advertisers, government officials, and users to balance free speech with public safety. One effect this controversy has on interpersonal communication is the reduced trust in government and even social media platforms. When people believe information is being unfairly promoted or suppressed, they may become skeptical of legitimate information as well. It has also increased political polarization. So many individuals will now seek information only from sources that reinforce their already existing beliefs, making productive conversations more difficult. Finally, one last effect. Some people report engaging in self-censorship by avoiding controversial topics online because they fear criticism, account restrictions, or social consequences in their everyday life. So, what are some solutions to these problems? While opinions differ regarding the actions of the FBI and Twitter, many experts agree that greater transparency can help restore public trust. That could look like social media companies clearly disclosing government agencies' request content reviews and publish reports explaining how those requests are handled. This would allow the public to better understand how moderation decisions are made. Another solution could be social media platforms' moderation policies be applied consistently, regardless of your political viewpoint. If there are standards, users would understand why content is removed or limited. But when all is said and done, the key solution is to build that solid foundation of trust back. So essentially, this debate is no longer isolated to Twitter and government communication or any other social media platforms. It's about how we as Americans communicate with one another and whether we can trust those very systems that mold these conversations or not. Political beliefs aside, protecting both public safety and freedom of expression requires transparency, accountability, and informed citizens. Through encouraging open dialogue, consistent policies, and greater public understanding, we can strengthen interpersonal communication while preserving the freedoms that support a healthy democracy. And I'm going to apologize for my voice because it is going out. And that's it. Thank you.